Buttless. Guys, we only have 8 minutes for this, so we can't huddle. Usually we huddle up in between questions, not this time. Tom Brady had a succinct and foul response to Jim Gray on his own podcast when asked about his future. Take a listen.
Tom, you're leaving everybody guessing. You said you'll take your time. Do you have any type of a timetable as to what you might want to do regarding your football career?
Jim, if I knew what I was going to fucking do, I'd have already done it. Okay? I'm taking it a day at a time.
I sense you're antagonized by the question.
You're scratching.
It's only the question that everybody wants to hear.
You're scratchy. I appreciate your asking. Thank you.
Wow. Not great.
No, you don't.
Can I just say something? I listened to this podcast so you wouldn't have to, America. And let me tell you something. You would think that Gray is like, so what are you doing next year? No, come on, Tom, tell us. Come on. And we just played you the very end of it. They were talking about golf, man. Yeah. They were talking about John Rahm. Brady called him a great Spaniard, and then he was asking about his own golf game. He's like, then Jim Gray on, again, this podcast, I'd like to give full credit, called Let's Go with Tom Brady, Larry Fitzgerald, and Jim Gray, said, he's like, so what are you doing next year? And
Brady, a timetable.
A timetable, not even what are you doing, like a timetable. And Brady got real mad, which is so odd. Listen, I think Brady's clearly playing. I'm not sure where. I think Miami's on the board. I think Vegas is on the board. But to me, the story here is Brady, this wasn't him getting caught by TMZ at the airport. And they're like, hey, what are you doing? He's like, I'll let you bleep and know. He's getting ready for the podcast. That's you own. He has to know this question's coming. So I don't know why he cursed and got angry about it. And I don't care if people curse. I know Brew doesn't curse at all, and you rarely do. I curse a lot, so I'm not like offended by it. But it's just an odd spot, Wilds, when he knows that question is coming to get angry about it.
I thought it was strange. I thought he was sending a message. But if he didn't want it in there,
what's the message?
Yeah, what message?
I'm taking it one day at a time, I guess. Well, here's the thing. We don't think it was a live radio show, even though I listened to it on my car. I don't think it's live. And if it was really bad, you would say, please edit that out.
No,
of my own podcast.
I think he knew, it gives an authenticity to the podcast. Like, oh, wow. They really keep it real up on the LLG. Let's Go podcast. But, no, I do think he's frustrated because I'm with Nick. I definitely think he wants to play. And I think but he only wants to play in certain situations. And I think he's waiting to see if any of those situations materialize. You mentioned Miami. I also wouldn't be surprised if he and Sean Payton are talking. And maybe there's kind of a package deal they might try to do like they did last time with Miami.
Yeah, I get his frustration. I mean, I've been there. I've retired before and didn't know that I was actually going to retire. I literally was training to come back after I got released from the Dolphins, and I'm going to play. And then I'm in the gym. I had been training for months. And I sat down in the gym with my trainer, and I didn't even train that day. And I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I just randomly said I'm done. It just happens.
That's what happened?
That's exactly what happened. I did not know that I was going to retire after the season. It took time. I got tired of going through the hustle and the bustle and the training, and it was just like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. So I can only imagine. I'm not Tom Brady. Like, I can only imagine the season didn't go the way that he had hoped. All the other things that he's dealing with, like, there's a lot on his plate right now. He's trying to foresee what he's going to do before it actually starts to get putting together and see what situation will be the best fit. And if it works out, great. But if it doesn't,
just randomly saying you're done in a moment of frustration almost happened to me in the A block when he kept on going on about the Bills salary cap. Hello, Bill O'Brien. Now we're getting to the hot part of the show. Goodbye, Matt Patricia, maybe. Belichick bringing in another old coach back to New England. And this time, get this, bro. The guy coached offense before. Added bonus. God. B.O.B. Worked with Mac Jones when the baby goat gave him a primer on the Alabama offense. He stayed a little bit longer, even though he had just won the national championships. He said, here, let me walk you through the playbook. Obviously a solid move.
Makes no sense.
But you don't like it, so
you just can't only hire. Listen, you can't be in the midst of the first professional failure in 2 decades and have the answer be keep doing the same thing. You can't have everyone who works for you be either related to you or someone you taught the business to.
Well,
if this were a car dealership, we would say, Pops, Bring in some new blood. Somebody that maybe has some new ideas on how to move the Mazdas. The idea that Belichick will only allow to work for him people who he sired or people who he taught the sport is an outrageous idea. Like, do you not think, listen, you want an offensive mind.
Yeah.
You don't think it would be a good idea to bring in some fresh blood? Bring in someone that might actually challenge some of Bill's own ideas?
It's not a terrible point. Let's just say that. But, Brew, can I show you a graphic? Because I think Nick does make a fair point. Oh. But he is the best offensive coordinator we've ever had. Most points and most yards per game. So I was like, you know what? Maybe not. Brought back McDaniel kind of work. Do I want to bring back Charlie Weiss? No, brought back Patricia didn't work. But he's got a great track record. He's got a relationship with the baby goat. I feel great about it. Most importantly, bro, didn't spend his entire life coaching defense. That's also.
Well, look, it's obviously an upgrade.
It's an upgrade.
I hear what Nick is saying.
It's a
bring in like a young mind, that'd be great. But Belichick is Belichick. And I get, look, all coaches want somebody they're comfortable with. Now, you're right, a lot bring in a guy they don't know that well, but he's a genius or, they really respect him. I'm not mad at your take, but this is an incredible upgrade. Bill O'Brien obviously did a good job. I know Deshaun Watson's totally different type of quarterback, but he had success with him in Houston and actually won. The interesting thing, though, Wiles, you showed those numbers. All the time O'Brien spent in New England, they didn't win a Super Bowl. Of the 6 they won, none of them were with him. He was with them there about 4 or 5 years. Yeah. So, but I think, look, I get what Nick's saying, but I think it was a good hire.
Yeah, I like the hire. I thought the same thing that you thought. Look, Bill Belichick does not want to bring in any fresh blood, any new blood, because it's an onboarding process. I got to teach you how we do it over here, and I got to make sure that you're going to do it the way that we want you to do it from wherever you're coming from. He doesn't have to deal with that. I think the number one thing for me that was intriguing about this is the relationship. There's already an established relationship. When you are rotating offensive coordinators with a young quarterback and having the expectation that he's supposed to improve every single season, you better bring in that third guy, and he better be somebody that he has a relationship.
Do you think that's because that's what Mangini said, that was a little bit dangerous. Third year, third offensive coordinator.
Well,
is that going to be a step back?
Yeah, there's going to be some growing pains still.
Baker Mayfield.
And it's a setup to have another one.
Why?
Bill O'Brien wants to be a head coach again.
Overrated.
That shit may have sailed.
No, because Bill O'Brien listen, I covered those things in Houston. He was good at the head coaching part, or good-ish. The general managing part is historically bad, like one of the worst ever, and he undermined himself with that. But the problem is, if he succeeds, he's then gone.
Okay. Post-Super Bowl, that's fine.
Think about how hard that's going to be on Bailey Zappi. To have to go through another new offensive coordinator.
This guy.
What?
We got to go to break. Okay. We should have gone to break 30 seconds ago. Who's got the most to gain from a Super Bowl win? It's a brand new segment. It's going to be excellent. Coming up, 4